Hey there, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy Watch Talk Tuesday with Bobby Legs and friends. Maybe I'll have some friends join me this evening. Maybe not. Oh, and I do have a friend joining me this evening. It's been a
Oh,
minute, man.
yeah,
It's been a minute since you've been
I missed it. How's it going?
good, man. I'm happy to see you. You're looking very good, very fit. You know,
Oh, working
yeah,
on it. Yeah,
yeah. It's a struggle, man. I
yeah,
know,
yeah,
especially at our age. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's
A
really
few steps forward, a few steps backwards.
Absolutely. I feel just seriously, like, and I'll just speak for myself. It's like one step forward, two steps back. Like, like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, like if I had gone a few months without working out,
Yeah.
I get it back, right? And like the stomach wouldn't be so big. But now it's like, it's like I'm losing ground with the stomach. I mean, not in a positive way, meaning the stomach is like taking over. You know what I mean? So like it's harder, man.
I
It's
know exactly
harder.
what you mean. Yep, for sure.
But I'm trying to get back into it. It's not as bad as I'm making it out, but but it feels that way because I just turned 50 and I feel like I'm still like 30, which I guess is
Yep,
good.
yep,
But I want the results of
yep,
a 30-year-old, and it's
yeah.
just not, it doesn't work out that
It
way.
doesn't work out that way.
I know.
But you know
I'm
what?
bringing you down. I'm
No,
sorry. I'm
no,
bringing you
we're
down. Yeah.
good. We gotta enjoy. We gotta enjoy 50, right? Because
Yeah.
each next decade is gonna we're gonna be looking back
It
saying,
might be the
"Oh,
last.
it was good when we were
Yeah.
50, right?" Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, and yeah, sorry we're getting sidetracked here, but I
It's what we
remember
do.
thinking, yeah, right, exactly. I remember thinking to myself years ago, I'm like, oh, I wonder like what 50 is gonna be like. Like, where am I gonna be? And I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
with my kids would be out of college already, right? This is like when I was like in my teenage years,
Yeah, yeah,
and I'll be like, on a beach somewhere, fishing,
yep,
retired early. I'm gonna retire early. That was my plan. I'm gonna retire early.
yeah.
That's not. I've done the
Not in the
opposite. I
cards
did
for me.
everything the opposite. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, anyway, what do you have on wrist tonight, man?
Wearing the, Seamaster.
Oh
Let me
yeah,
get it
white
up
dial.
on the screen. Really
Mm,
love this watch. Yeah,
such a great watch.
yeah. Absolutely
Love
love
it.
it.
Love that piece. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm, about a year ago, a year and a half ago, I went from being very disinterested in the Speedmaster to being very interested in it. Right,
Mm.
still am. Hey, Deb, how you doing? Um,
Dib.
and I
Speaking of
find my
young fellows
young fellows
with
in
their
their
whole
in
life
their
ahead of them.
in their 30s. Look at his like his hair is like carelessly
I know he's got the
young,
little flip
wisp.
going on over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Very on
Man,
trend.
I wish I had.
All
Like,
my son's friends, they do this weird thing where they get their hair like this and they smash it in the front so it like does this some kind of thing. I can't even recreate it. They do this weird
dude,
thing with their hair.
look, I mean, if I had Dib's hair
Yeah.
now, like
Yeah.
life would be so much better. Like I'd be like, I'd be like, I would be able to tackle the world like no problem.
I would
You
love
know?
to be able to grow a beard like Dib. I have beard envy with Dib.
Yeah, yeah. Dib.
That's for
Anyway,
sure.
as I was saying, and for the longest time, I've been really disinterested with the Seamaster, but lately
Mm,
I've been infatuated with the two tone, and then seeing your white dot one. And I've seen that watch
mm,
100 times, and there's plenty of
mm.
people that we've known that have that watch. But now, like seeing it, like in more pictures with you,
Mm.
your pictures, like it's just like,
I really like it. If you ever wanna
man.
review it or anything, just let me know. I'll
I may
send
have
it
to
your
take
way.
you up on that one of these days
Yep,
for
yep,
sure. I mean,
for
it's just
sure.
a good looking watch. And my buddy has the black dial version on rubber,
Mm.
and man, it's a really cool watch. Hey, Dib, what do you have on wrist this evening?
Uh, Not the best
Oh,
picture, but the SLGH 003
Mm-hmm.
from the
Mm-hmm.
brand
it's a sweet watch.
Sinking Ship brand,
Yeah.
owned by Grand Seiko. Just letting everybody know it's a shitter. Just don't save your money. Buy
Yeah.
Rolex.
Yeah. Yeah. You sound like some like Australian that's on YouTube.
Yeah, but the
Um,
Australian doesn't know what to do. It's just babbling on. Yeah,
yeah. Gotcha. I'm talking about Archie. Talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
Archie. Yeah. Okay.
He babbles on. Like
Yeah.
just buy Rolex and Patek. Look at
Yeah.
Amin. Yeah,
Yeah.
he followed Archie's advice.
Yeah.
Omega, Dib, Omega.
Oh,
Hey,
today it's a Omega, but
I
All right,
wonder.
all
I
right, all
wonder.
right. Let's
I wonder what he would think about your collection, Deb. I mean, Amin, Archie now.
what Archie I don't want to go into that on the stream right now, but I
Yeah.
I
Okay.
hear you guys.
No worries. Okay. I got the G Steel. Fun little
Nice.
watch. Been
I
wearing
like that
that
one.
last couple days. Yeah, it's fun. It's
When
fun.
did you get that?
Just last week, I was
Oh,
just like, needed a fix. It was like $300,
you buy it
and
locally or online?
no, I bought it from the G-Shock website, and it's like in my
Oh,
house the next. Like they must have like a
mm,
distributing center like near me, because as soon as I ordered it, it said leaving distributor, and the distributor was like few towns away. You know what I mean? So they must have something locally where they just like a warehouse where they just store
cool.
and ship, because it was literally I ordered it and the next day it appeared. So um
Very cool.
God bless G-Shock for that. Hey, let's say hello to everybody. Marceau is here. How you doing, Marceau? Wearing his MTG Lunar Rainbow. All right.
Cool.
Chaz from the Berg. How you doing? Bruno is here. Kevin S is here. Number one, Bobby Legs troller. Joey B is here. Hey now. Deech is here with a Zimbe one gray turtle. Bill K, how are you? FP Wilson. Yeah, Wilson here. Francois Paul Wilson. Keith,
Kevin is the best troll. Like
you know,
he's number one.
I,
Never
I, I
mean
think,
spirited.
yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah,
funny.
yeah. Very funny.
Yeah.
Um, pretty much always right, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Usually almost always right. Yeah.
usually almost always is right.
Yep.
But no, and
Pretty much always.
pretty much actually he's always right.
Yeah.
And Dib, I think he's become Dib's watch consigliere.
Yeah.
exactly
Because
inner Kevin.
To the point
yeah,
where he doesn't even have to say it, right?
I
It's
know.
like you ever watch Battlestar? Was it Battlestar Galactica where they had the Cylons, and there'd be like somebody like in someone's head. He's
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
Dib's head.
yeah. It's totally like I could just see like a little mini Kevin
Yeah.
in Dib's head.
Yeah.
Exactly. He stopped me from buying a Scurfo watch. So
So if Kevin's on one shoulder, who's on the other shoulder, Dib, when you're having these inner dialogues?
Beans? Is it Beans?
I think my credit card companies is on the other side.
That's awesome. Keith is here. Steve Time Hill, how are you? Good to see you. James Duffy is here. Good to see you, James. Alex, what is up? How are you?
It's pretty late
Man,
for
Hey,
him.
Alex.
yeah, I know.
Right?
I know. It's like I don't know how he does it. I don't know how any of the people who are in the UK who are watching this, I don't know how they do it either. But hey, it's Europe. Maybe they just stay up later there. Mes9's
But
here.
the UK isn't a part of Europe, so
Well, okay, but it's okay. Part of the
The
European
continent.
continent.
Yeah, it's
The
part of the
continent it
continent.
is. Yeah, it's
yeah.
not part
But
of the EU.
as per Boris Johnson, it's not. So we can move on.
Yeah, yeah. Boris Johnson, by the way, resigned from his parliamentary seat though. So anyway, saw some Bulgari today. The new Octo Romas are so nice. Yeah, those are really sharp, right? I like those too. Hey, BJ's here. What's up? How you doing? Good to
Hey,
see
BJ.
you. Young Excellency. Yeah, from Atlanta, Canada. Yeah, Bobby Legs bringing in the Godfather tonight. Legends on the panel. Yeah, Amin. Good to see Amin. One of these days we got to get the old crew back together. I think
For
they just have lives. You know what I
I
mean? Like
know. It's so discouraging.
how dare they, right?
Yeah.
Chiller in the sand. What's going on? How you doing? We're in this speedy. Father Time hasn't lost one yet for sure. Thanks for the reminder, Kevin. Casual watch reviews. Hey Sam, what's going on? Good to see you. Sam, just off the heels of doing a live stream this evening. So good to see you, man. Have you tried eating organ meat? Colin says. Is that just a general question, or was it related to?
I think that's when we were talking about regaining our youth.
I'm not a big organ meat person. Like liver does nothing for me. The only time I've recently eaten any kind of organs was probably at a Brazilian barbecue when they come out with like the chicken hearts in the skewer.
Yeah,
they're good. I mean, anything salted like that, I mean, it's not bad. But I think that's the extent of my animal organs. Dib, does that appeal to you?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. Fair
and
enough.
if it did, he couldn't say it.
Right. Right. It's a vegetable. Good evening, all. Hey, Stefan. Good evening to you as well. Justin R. He's strapped in. Sorry, I'm late. Hey, don't worry about it. Had to get Theo and Harris's take on the Omega fraud case. That's awesome. All right, let's I think we're wrapping up here.
So far, I think Colin's last comment and Pete, not so obvious, watches comment are equally perplexing and disturbing.
Ryan is here. How you doing, Ryan? Okay, hey guys. I'm right. Like Sex Panther, 60% of the time works every time. Yeah. Quote from
where's that from?
Anchorman.
That's from Anchorman.
Oh, okay. I'm doing a Sanjay. And
Conspire wearing a PRX tonight. Is that what you guys doing? You guys doing some movie line quotes here? Hey, Detroit Spartans here. Number one fan of Dib. As I'm
yes.
Nilo, what's going on? Hey, if you guys have any questions or topics, by the way, because I got none. If you want to talk about tonight, this evening, please put it in the chat. Would really appreciate it. You don't have to super chat it. Not like some other channels. We will freely talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, watch related. But when it comes to Dib, anything goes. Any questions, feel free to ask. Have tried winning your realizing you people. Oh, okay. I don't know if I'm supposed to read that one.
See, that's the one I was like, what is
that? Hey, Pacific Turtle, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah. So in lieu of like, let's talk hockey. I don't know if any of us know hockey. I mean, I'm sure Big Risk, you're alluding to the fact that your team in Las Vegas is in the finals, I believe. But hey, like pretty historic performance by Denver, right? And Jokic, right?
Yep.
That guy is pretty amazing. I didn't realize he almost averaged a triple double this year. I saw that he was like 0.2 assists away from averaging a triple double for the season.
That's crazy.
Which is pretty amazing for a center, right?
I think they said he was the first person ever for the entire playoffs to have the most points, assists, and rebounds for the whole playoffs.
Are you? That's amazing because I mean, there's guys like Will Chamberlain. Know what I mean? Who were and Bill Russell, who were just monsters in their time.
And not just a center, but the first player ever to lead those three categories. It's pretty amazing.
That is crazy. All right, question from Chaz. Is it appropriate to rank your watch friends groups maybe start with
Chaz is just, you can feel the hurt behind the humor
yeah,
with Chaz. Yeah.
yeah,
It's the
yeah.
pain behind the smile.
Do you feel like and let's be serious about this. I mean, like, ever since I started doing this YouTube thing, and then
Mhm.
followed up by lockdown, right? About a year
Mhm.
after that, all my friends pretty much were people in the watch community. I mean, of course, I had friends, that I grew up with and were friends for a long time, but I wasn't really seeing them as often because of quarantine. And before that, we weren't, we would just text, but I mean, we didn't do this like on camera.
Yep.
Um, and so like I have, I guess, like, I don't know if I have one main group or several small groups, but there's people that I chat with all the time.
Mm.
And I don't see them, as I don't rank them, of course.
Now you're gonna
Uh,
hurt
uh,
Chaz too.
no,
You
no,
throwing him in with a whole bunch of
no,
different groups.
me and Chaz text all the time about stuff. So,
Yep, yep, yep.
we got our personal phone
I
numbers.
know, but you're
So,
like, you don't know if
and,
it's
you, and, you,
this
and
group
you
or
do,
that
and
group.
I bet you both of you guys text with him too. I bet
Yeah,
you both of you guys text.
no doubt. But Chaz
So,
is in
so
my number one group though. That
yeah, yeah,
I'll say it
yeah.
right there.
He's in my
And
number
you
one
guys
group.
are my number one group.
Yeah, yeah. But Dib, you I feel like you get out there a little bit more, right? You're involved with like a red bar group, right? And then you have several other
Atlanta
groups that
Watch
are,
Society.
yeah, yeah. Like, do you feel like fulfilled, like, watch wise, with, like, friends wise?
I,
Like,
I,
how
hon-
do you
I honestly feel like I get an overdose of watch content, not YouTube, but from friends. But it does allow me to kind of hone in as to what I want, what type of collector I want to be, how I can invent new ways of looking down at shitty watches. That's definitely a plus point. If I see a shitbag watch, wear it in good health, like very serious face. So they're thinking, I'm good to go, but inside I'm laughing at myself. It's a joke for me. But
mm,
in all seriousness, I think the exposure that we get from all our friends, because everybody has a different viewpoint,
mm,
and at the end of the day, like most of the things that I say, please don't take it too hard. It's all lighthearted. You gain a lot of perspective as
yeah,
to what kind of watch person you want to be. I
yeah,
know it's a very, like if somebody random, like some random person just comes in and
mm,
starts hearing me talk, "Hey, what is this guy going on?" But it does gives me a lot of understanding as to, all
mm,
right, do I like Grand Seiko? Do I like Panerai? Like,
mm,
do I want to talk to this person? Like, is he full of himself? Is she full of herself? It's the exposure. I think
mm,
watches don't make people. People make watches. And at the end of the day, you're happy with the people who surround you.
yeah,
Watches are just a conduit of your happiness. You're
mm,
spending money, like it's an expensive hobby. Don't get me wrong, but
Is it
yeah.
true that with all these friends and rich experiences that you're contemplating quitting the hobby, David
I,
Judson?
I think um, this is a good, like I keep having the same thought over and over again. Like should I quit the hobby because it's gotten to the point where I've reached a high and I don't know where to go. Like it's almost to the point where it's a zero sum game. It's just how high do
uh,
I go? Like, do I even do it? Because I come from a very humble background in India, and the watches I have, I'm sure people back home they would die for these
mm,
watches. Like they can't even fathom the fact that I have, you know, this much money tied up in a hobby. So I'm
mm,
definitely very lucky, and sometimes that feeling hits me a lot because like I talked to you guys about buying a Patek. Like
mm,
you know me, I'm a cheap guy. I mean, I'd rather save money on clothes, but then the next day I turn around and pay $10,000 for some watch.
We got a very
Yeah.
important message we got to put up here from Mr. Beans. You know, when Dibs, one of Dibs' higher groups, more primary groups, makes a comment, you know, it's got to take precedence. So, so
He and I talk about it all the time. Like, what is the end game? Like, where do we land? With
Mm.
the watches we have. Like, at the end of the day, the last 2 years were an aberration, right? We bought a watch, we sold it in like 10 minutes if we wanted to. Maybe lose a little bit, but usually even out. But nowadays, taking such a huge hit on all the watches that at least I sell, it's starting to hurt me. I'm like, all right, I wasn't like I started my watch journey in 2019, right before the pandemic hit. So I wasn't used to the market where like you buy something for 6 grand and you sell it for 3 grand. That's what the market is. So for my brain to readjust to that, to that,
Mm.
it's taking some time.
Yeah.
And the only way I can do that is to, again, you guys laugh about it all the time. So I have scheduled purchases, I have
Hmm.
unscheduled
how
purchases.
many scheduled purchases do you have left this year coming
I,
in?
I think there's none. I mean, the Cartier
Come
is one,
on.
and the
They're not,
Pepsi.
they're not
Huh?
scheduled until they are. They're
The
not
Yeah,
scheduled
Cartier for
until.
sure is
Yeah.
is scheduled.
Pepsi. You never know. It's a
Pepsi
working day. Yeah,
scheduled.
Yeah.
that's it. Nothing else. And the Seikos I keep buying. You might as well add those to
So
Right.
what
you
So it
buying
does
sounds
them.
like you're still buying watches.
No,
what does quitting the game look like to you, Dave? What's that?
I think quitting the hobby is a very broad statement.
Okay.
I think how I look at it is for
Quitting
me to
quitting the hobby also includes not quitting the hobby.
yes, let's just gloss over that, but it's it's focusing on something I really like. I think for the last few months I've been harping on and on about the inner Kevin.
Mm.
It's
So you're saying
essentially.
Kevin's forcing you to quit the hobby? It sounds like.
Now, Kevin is not forcing me to quit the hobby, but he is forcing me to reevaluate what I actually want in a watch. Like nowadays, if I buy a watch, I categorize. Do I keep this for a month? Do I keep it for 2 months? Do I keep it for a year? Do I keep it for
Mm.
5 years?
Mm.
Now, again, I have not reached 5 years, so that's still a work in development. I think the Omia is probably going to be the only watch which will reach 5 years because it was a watch which my mom gifted me. So that's not going, but it's just taking a break, at least for the more expensive pieces. Like you said, the G-Shock is $300. You have it for a few days, few months, whatever. You sell it for 200. Like, it doesn't really hurt you. But I just can't keep buying several seven, eight, $9,000 watches and then having to sell it for a huge loss. So that kind of
Mm.
forces me to actually reevaluate and think, what do I want from a watch? What purpose does it solve? Do I want to look good? Is it flashy? Like all the questions that are out there for all the other more fancy YouTubers to explore, like philosophical life decisions. I think that's where it, kind of
Mm.
So
ends.
quitting the hobby means getting fewer watches per
Yeah.
year?
I think that's gonna be my target. And again, it's a process. It doesn't happen the next
Sure.
day. But if I can reach the point where I buy one good watch every year or two good watches, like that, the reason why I think I should do it is
Mm.
because I buy
Just
a
sounds
watch,
expensive.
then 4 months later I sell it.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, I'm never building a collection.
Mm.
It's as I've used it's like an extended truck stop. The
Mm.
truck comes in, the driver gets a little bit of rest, and then he moves on,
Mm.
to his next destination. So I'd like to stop doing that.
Let's say
Okay.
if you got the lacquer dial Cartier and a Pepsi this year, and then
Hmm.
next year something like that, and the year after that something like that,
Yeah.
plus
So
plus
if
a
I, if
bunch of Seikos. Is
the
that quitting the
Seikos don't
hobby?
count,
And a
the
couple more
Seikos
Seikos
don't
don't
scheduled
count.
count.
purchases.
Is
The
that
Seikos just don't count because
so?
I
Would
buy
that
so
what I just
many.
described? Is that quitting the hobby?
That's pretty much me quitting the hobby, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Curating.
perfect. We got
The
it.
word that I'm looking for is curate. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of pieces, but again, I keep shifting out of those pieces. I think I've reached a point, hopefully, at least, I like to tell myself that, you know, I've reached a point where I know what I like and I kind of stick to those brands. I don't
Yeah.
really deviate from those brands.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
support this kind of quitting the hobby.
I support that. I think I want to quit the same way. Um, just to quickly just go back to the genesis of this conversation that we're having right now, and back into the friendships and the community and the groups that we are part together. Look, I think one of the best ways, it's just my opinion, and I'm certainly going to encourage my children to do this. The best ways to experience life and new cultures and people is to travel, right? And I wish I'd done more of that. Having said that, I feel like the people that I've met in the last couple of years, without traveling, I've met so many great people from all over the world, right? With this hobby, I never thought it would ever be like this, right? I never. This wasn't my expectation when I did my first video on my collection back in October of 2019. You know, Wolfie in Europe, and Thomas and Alex and all these other guys in the UK, and everybody around across the country, and people in Australia and New Zealand. Like, this is just, it's unbelievable. And I'm so fortunate to have you guys. So you guys are all number one in my book. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. There's some good stuff here, and a lot of comments, and I know I'm really far behind here. Scott is saying we'll zip right through these. Okay. What are your guys' thoughts on buying expensive watches from reputable dealers, but without box and papers, like 20K plus? Amin, do you have any thoughts on this?
I have mixed feelings, you know. I think the only so first of all, I think financially, if you're saving a lot of money because there's no box and papers, I think it all depends on the amount of money you're saving. Um, and then the only other concern I would have is that without box and papers increases the possibility it could be stolen. But if it's from a great dealer, I feel like that risk is going to be pretty low. So if the price is right,
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Yeah,
I think
I'm with you. Oh, go ahead, Tip. So you go ahead, please.
I think I agree with Amin. I personally I've never bought a watch yet which is naked, and the one time I did, it was a drunk mistake, and I really suffered, like financially, because it was a bad mistake. But
Mm,
overall, let's say if you're buying a watch from Watchbox and you're saving, so I'll give an example. Let's say a Langa One box and papers, you're paying 31,000 from Watchbox. Then you have a very established dealer, let's say Cape Town Diamond. That's a local dealer to me. They sell on eBay. I've visited their store, lots of good pieces, and they have the watch, the same watch that I'm looking for, with no box and papers, 21,000. I'll buy it from Cape Town Diamond because I know that they have been in the business for 40 years. So I do my due diligence on the dealer. And if something does happen, you need to be sure that the dealer can back his claim up that, hey, you know, I made a mistake, here's your money back, or I'll get you the same watch from a different dealer, or whatever. They can source the watch. So I think that's the key thing. I would not buy a watch from somebody who I did not know had a good reputation. You know, that's what I would do. But
mm,
have I done it? No, not yet.
yeah. I think in generally I agree with you guys, although I'm trending towards big purchases like that, and box and papers. I have to have it. I'm just now getting too many stories lately about fakes, and there's like, even in the mainstream media, they're talking about, like, luxury goods and being faked, and how good the fakes are. So if I'm gonna make that sort of a kind of investment, um, I'm definitely gonna I'd pay the extra for the box and papers, for sure. And if it doesn't have any box papers, even if it's from a reputable dealer like Watchbox, for example, I'm seriously heavily think twice about doing it. And that's just me. that's because I'm just scared, more scared than I have been in a while, in a long time. Ouch, Bobby Legs. I feel blindsided. No, 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 Chaz. I mean, we love you, and that's why we all talk to you one to one. You know, you're the best. You're the man. Um, Dib spreads the love. Dib is the sweetest, loveliest honeyball in the bunch. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, for sure. Let's see here. Everyone has a viewpoint, and Dib isn't open to any of them. Oh, that's tough. That's tough from your mentor,
Yeah, but
Dib.
the good thing is the mentor has taught me well. I know my viewpoint is correct for myself, and that's all I care about. You know, everybody has their own viewpoint. I'm willing to listen, but at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see here. Sean, hey Sean, how you doing? The end game is not buying, selling, collecting. It is this stuff. It is the people you meet and talk to you in this hobby. I like that. I do like
Mhm.
that. Dib, you realize that you are not being forced to buy any of these watches, right? Kevin
Exactly.
says.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of advice for Dib. Rick had a one up here. Did I skip over it? He was. I'm sorry, guys. Let me just try to find it. Oh, okay. Are you guys less interested in vintage and or buying via auction because of recent events? What are you guys' thoughts on that? Vintage.
I didn't follow that story that closely, but I'll say I bought some vintage, never spent a ton of money on it. I never been burned. I mean, I bought a redialed vintage Seiko at one point, but in general, my success with vintage I think has been good, and I think it was fun getting deep enough into it to do the research and be able to figure out how to really know what I'm looking at. So that was part of the enjoyment. Um, but I would never spend big money on vintage. It would always be like low price vintage for me.
Mhm. Um, I recently had a cosmonaut in the collection. Very very cool watch. Neo vintage, or actually probably is technically vintage, early '90s, right? I mean, I think
Mhm,
vintage they can in the watch world is anything 25 years and older.
mhm, mhm.
So vintage. I probably won't go that route again. Um, just because even though it went through the authentication process with eBay, there's really no guarantee that the thing was authentic. I'm guessing that it was. I'm probably 95% sure that it was. But it's not like they check and see if there's actually a Lamagna in there or not. You know what I mean? Like, I just, yeah, yeah. I probably, I'm more and more leaning towards buying newer stuff straight from an AD as opposed to even secondary, depending on the watch, right? I mean, if it's second Seiko, I'll buy that in the secondary pre-owned market. But anything like a little bit more luxurious, I don't know. I'm just very very wary now about fakes and all this. Dib, how do you feel about vintage these
I
days?
avoid vintage. I think my sweet spot would be something which we can coin as neo vintage. So
Mm-hmm.
anything after the 90s. So they're still not too old. You can find parts. I do have a lot of watches that I like from that era, but it's just never been a priority for me. I usually choose. I think out of all the watches that I have bought, except the one major mistake I made, I bought a drunk. I bid on an Omega while drunk, and I woke up and I found that I wildly overpaid,
Mm.
and it turned out to be a really bad example of a Mark II Speedy. But other than that, I think the oldest watch I've had was probably the mid 2000s. And I think I'm a very happy camper, like from 90s to 2010. If I were to buy anything which I categorize as old, I think that would be it. I think the oldest watch I've had is the Mark 16 from 2008. And the current oldest watch that I have is from 2011, which is my PAM 177. That's about it. But I just avoid it because I like modern materials.
Mm-hmm.
I know I want to like something vintage, but when I feel the tinniness, I don't get nostalgic when I have something from the 90s and it feels like crap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Honestly, I
Yeah. Yeah.
like this SLGH because it feels like a solid hulk,
Yeah.
hunk of steel.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
uh,
I get that. Yeah.
I,
I mean,
I think,
if you want that vintage look, get a Black Bay 58, right?
yeah, I
If you
mean,
want that
there's
vintage look in
plenty.
a modern watch.
For example, I was very close to buying the same cosmonaut that you have from a Japanese dealer, and
Yeah.
it was an excellent price. So it was a cosmonaut 24-hour Lemania movement, and some of the Japanese dealers are so honest with their, like they'll put a picture up with pinpoints marking where the gouges are, where the scratches are. Usually put a time grapher pick up, or like case back opened up. So I tend to go Japanese if I try to buy any vintage watches, just because in my experience the Japanese dealers are more honest and more forthcoming with their information. So, for example, Amin, last year when I saw your Breguet tradition,
Mm,
I contacted a bunch of dealers who were selling the watch,
mm, mm,
and all of them, like, I asked a bunch of questions, never bought from them, but hey, how is it running? When was it last service? Can you put it on time graph or let me know what the amplitude is? What, like, is it running above 15 seconds? And each and every seller replied to me with, like, and one seller went above and beyond, like he put in the 5 positions. I'm
mm,
like,
mm,
thank you, but felt really tempted, but that would be my sweet spot.
mm,
I
mm, mm.
wouldn't, again, like, from something from the 80s, like, for example, a 5513 sub. I'm wildly overpaying for a bit of nostalgia. So a 5513, I don't know what the price is, but it's probably going to be 15, maybe 14,000. You can get a no date sub from 2005 for 7,500. I'll choose the no date sub from
I've bought a
2005.
lot of watches from the 2000s, and I've had all good experiences with that.
Mm.
I think the 2000s is a pretty high value place to buy for sure.
Yeah. When is Dib getting the Hublot?
Uh, Good question. I think it's in the works. I need, again, I need to be drunk enough to spend the used money. Like, like, you're paying 11, 12 grand for a used Dublo. That's Pepsi money. I really need to be drunk to do that. But I mean, it's not a race. Watch buying is not a race. It's a marathon, you know. So it'll happen sometime in the next few years.
I like it.
Dib bought a watch with no clothes on?
What?
Remember when Dib bought a watch in his sleep? That was fun.
I'd rather not say what happened, but yeah, it was sad.
Uh, Jill understands no box and papers, but you have the receipt from a reputable dealer. You should be good. Keep the receipt. Dib's drunk mistakes involving nakedness are very different from mine. We're
It
heading to
wasn't a
the
naked
quad.
mistake.
The big risk. I bought a vintage Seamaster with no box and papers. Bought a major dealer, and it came with a full return policy and along with warranty. So I was happy and safe. Kevin, as vintage is always a minefield. The intern, whenever he shows up, okay, I guess he's talking to Chaz and not to us. The intern says not to buy old watches, period. Justin R, if I were to go vintage, I would just buy a small priced example of a watch I like. Going for the best example for premium money is way too risky.
Agreed.
Yeah, Colin, vintage is too hard for me. Hard to authenticate, hard to own. Not many fakes in those 1990 cosmonauts. It costs too much to put 120 numbers on the dial. James says that he buys a lot of vintage, mostly from Japan, because of the favorable exchange rate. Yeah, favorable exchange rate for sure. it's looking pretty good. Actually, I was on Sakura before, and prices were very, very good. No vintage for Marceau. I've been burned by a vintage Speedy, which also involved my ceramic Daytona. I'm glad it's in the past now. Bobby says, Detroit Spartan would pay to see Dip drunk. I mean, I think I certainly would pay.
I
Mom,
think
what
it could
about
be
you?
arranged.
Yeah.
I usually try not to get drunk. Like if I'm out with friends, I'll maybe have 2 beers and that's about it.
But isn't that the best time to get drunk when you're out with friends?
Yeah, but somebody has to be responsible to bring them home. Yeah. I'm usually the designated driver,
Mm.
and I'm not a
Wait,
lot
no,
of fun. So,
there's no Uber. There's no Uber by you.
uh, yes, but if I'm taking my car, I'm bringing my car home.
Okay. Caliber says, I've purchased a fair amount of vintage, had both good and bad experiences. For that matter, bought 2 or 3 fake newer Fortis watches. Some vintage I've purchased weren't fake, but just worn out. Beans is saying tired taking Japanese watch dealers is Dib's new hobby.
No, I don't tire kick often, but I was you guys remember I was this close to buying the tradition, but then I postponed it for a later date. I definitely think that's gonna happen. It just has to happen at the right price.
Yeah, and it's got to be in your schedule too. You got to schedule
Exactly.
that. Do you keep like a spreadsheet of your scheduled future schedule
I think I just added a new page to my Excel spreadsheet,
Yeah,
the scheduler.
yeah, yeah,
So 2023 is just empty right now.
yeah. I would love to see you like with a little like leather bound notebook,
Mm.
and just like write your schedule there and just keep it with you like a professor. Um, I think that'd be kind of cool. Kevin S says I'm fine with 2000s, especially with Rolex. They feel very modern. A lot of Japanese sellers insist on servicing their watches before selling. That's very good to know, James. Dib said he bought the watch naked, no box and papers. Oh, okay. Okay. So he wasn't naked when he bought the watch. Gotcha. Hey, Pepe D's Nuts is here. What is up? Nothing good comes from drinking. I'll drink to that. Caliber saying one dealer I bought from scanned me on a watch they said was inspected by their watchmaker, but it didn't auto wind. And they passed the buy the seller test with lots of transactions and good feedback. Yikes. Bruno, his suggestion, if you want to buy older, just buy quartz. It either works or it doesn't. Dib to every Japanese seller. Can you just send me just a few more close-up pictures?
I don't think I've ever asked that question. Usually, my standard questions are: is the watch serviced? If it is, when? And how well is it running? Is there
Yeah,
any way that you can put it on a time grapher to tell me? That's
so you
about it.
like ask him to do all the things. It sounds like.
It's
It sounds like you ask him to do all the things.
just 3 things. I don't ask for pictures. The pictures usually by the Japanese sellers are really they're really well taken. So you
You're
don't
like
really.
this close from like asking them, "Can you send it so I can try it on for a couple days?"
No.
You're like that close. You're that close to sending that, doing that.
I mean,
You,
if I
you know what
could,
I'm
I
talking
would.
about.
Like it's the Amazon try before you buy concept.
Can you send me a few more pictures of the
Thanks,
previous owner?
thanks, Beanie. Oh God.
Oh, Beans, you got me. Beans. Hey, Amin wants to put something
You
up.
want to do a few quick round watches?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
So
please.
this is some
I
new
love it.
speed timers.
I love it.
Which color you like?
I've already put my name in for the panda one and that one right there.
Both?
Yeah.
You bought them both?
Well, I mean, they're not out yet.
Oh, you're gonna buy both.
Yeah. I have
I like
a
this one.
deposit on one, and then
This looks nice.
yeah,
Is the
that one looks
bracelet
pretty cool.
two-tone? It's like
I
black and silver.
I think so.
It
Yes.
looks
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, I like them.
I mean, I'm probably gonna keep one of them.
Yeah,
I'm not sure which one.
I'm
But
probably
Rev,
gonna get this
yeah,
piece.
the panda. Yeah, it's neat. What do you think
yeah,
of this?
I
I've
think they're
seen
pretty cool.
a little controversy about this. This is Patek, you know, just following trend. This is 36 millimeters. This one's 31, I think.
I mean, if they're women watches, like like
They're women watches. Although
yeah, I
I've seen a
mean,
lot of men wearing this watch.
small wristed men, I would
Small wristed
imagine.
men. Yeah.
I I
This
don't
came
I
in that
don't blame
series.
Patek for doing it,
Mm,
just because like they're not supplementing, they're not replacing anything good
yeah.
with something like this. If like they bought out the Tiffany Nautilus, right? It went through
Mhm.
the roof. So if they can make that, why not this? Not a
How do
bad
you
deal.
say 20? How do you say 20% off in Japanese?
I don't know. I don't speak Japanese.
I mean, if look, I know you don't, but if I were to bet if on you knowing like the minimal amount of words in Japanese, like I would bet 20% off would be number one on my list. Like it wouldn't be like konnichiwa or hello. It'd be like
Well, the
20% off.
Google Translate lady sounds really nice, but honestly, I can't say what it is.
Bobby Seiko might be back. I I kind of like that watch. The one you
This
just
one, the
pulled up
short
on.
Etienne.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool.
This was designed by Eric Giraud, the same.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'm a
Yeah,
sucker for anything that he designs now. You know what I mean?
yeah, yep. Good designer. I like it. It's a cool
Hmm.
watch.
Big
Oh,
Wrist says he's in the hunt for a Tissot side rail.
yeah,
Sidewell.
Oh, yeah.
that's one
Let's
of the
pull
new
that up.
pieces.
That's an interesting one.
I'm gonna wait till it hits the used market.
I like it.
I like the yellow.
Yeah, the yellow is sold out though, right? I mean, you can't get the yellow right now, right?
Add to
It says add
basket.
to
Oh,
basket, but I'm not paying
oh,
$1,000 for
okay.
a Tissot. When it's 400,
You
let me
can get
know.
it.
Oh, you
It's
can
here.
get it now. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think when we pulled it up, I pulled it up on Friday with Sam. I thought it was, um, you couldn't add to basket, but it looks like you can now.
Better than a Spinnaker, that's for sure. Looks cool. Yeah. Can't really go wrong with a Powermatic 80 Tissot. Their workhorse movements.
There you go, Pepe
Look,
these nuts coming through.
I think these are cool. And I mean, how many carbon fiber watches, well done for under $1,000? Not too many.
no, there might be a few Chinese manufacturers floating around, some micro brands that we don't know, but from a major manufacturer,
Yeah.
probably this is the first one.
That you can count on.
Yeah, I mean,
300-meter water resistance, 80-hour power reserve. A good design with some
yeah,
heritage.
I think when you reach the end of life,
Mm,
pretty much, I think what happens is like if you send it back to service, they just replace the movement. I
yeah.
don't think they really change the parts or service the watch. They're like $200, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scott's saying not worth servicing. They probably do replace the movement as tips suggests. Good to see a well executed yellow watch. Bobby seems to like it.
Nice vacation watch, beach watch, summer watch.
Yeah.
Did you guys already talk about the Brigays? Or want to? Don't want to?
I think it's a
Uh,
missed opportunity. Like I don't know,
yeah,
Bobby, if you have done it, but it's just.
yeah, and I think we talked. I think we talked about it last week, Deb.
Oh yeah.
Mm-mm. All right.
So,
Did you guys
Oh
talk about the Daytona last week?
no, we
no,
haven't
the
talked about
Daytona was
Daytona.
a Sunday release.
Yeah, Sunday release. So yeah, I mean, like, I think it's a great looking watch. I think it's nobody I know, or maybe that's not true. I think most of us will never see it ever.
I think this is the best Daytona in a
Mm,
long, long time. And
yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Daytona. I'm still on the list for one, but have been on the list for the last 3 years, I think. So probably
Mm.
not getting one anytime soon. And again, it's a very expensive Daytona,
Well,
but
it's all gold, right? I mean, it's a gold.
it's white
Yeah,
gold,
white gold.
and they reworked the movement to indicate 24 hours on one of the subdials instead of 12. That's why the new movement
Mm.
4132. I think it's a very classy looking Daytona,
Hmm.
especially subdials and the little pop of red at the 100 mark. Kudos to Ferrari for winning the Le Mans. If anybody follows that, that's where this watch was released. But yeah, I mean that's basically it. You won't get it. I'm waiting to see when these will hit the dealer auction sites to see how much of a price the first one at least is gonna fetch.
What do you think?
I
Over
think
under 200,000.
I think it's gonna be 150 to 175. That's my conservative estimate. The reason why I say it is because the new platinum Daytonas they haven't hit any of the dealer groups yet. So I think that's like 85,000 US. So if that came out, I mean, I think that this is probably gonna trounce the platinum. Honestly, like look at it. It's almost sex on wheels. Ooh,
What?
it physically arouses me. This watch.
So this is a family friendly show. Dib, keep it in your pants. Kevin is saying 200K
I think I'm gonna
when it
take the
hits.
under. I think I'll take the under. It doesn't matter if the movement is closed or not. I mean, I don't give a toss about the movement. I'm not gonna look at a Rolex movement.
Dib would buy this naked.
Probably.
I'll say it.
I mean,
I'll stand up there.
there's not been a single Rolex in recent history that came out, and I could feel the agony inside me that I'm never gonna get it. This is the first one. Like out of like I started collecting in July of 2019, and all these 4 years, this is the first Rolex where I was like, oh man, I wish I had enough money and contacts, and I was a VVIP. Because you need to be one to get allocated this piece, definitely.
I think Marceau's right that you know 200K somewhere around there, and that's going to be by far the cheapest way to get one of these, right? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
by far. That's why they'll be 200K, right? Because
Mhm.
almost no one will have a chance to get one.
This would have been a heavy watch. Might be hard on the neck for
What
Deb.
doesn't matter. I'll get neck braces if I have to.
Dib would get
Just look at it.
PT, medication.
Ah, I mean, it's just pure class. I mean, I'm quoting Mr. TGV, but come on. I mean, you can't. That's gonna be $1 million watch in 30 years easily.
I'm with Bobby Kumar on this. I'm not super crazy about it. I get the prestige part of it. I totally get the having something that's impossible to get part of it. But as far as the actual looks of it, I mean,
I
Do
the
you
regular
think
new black Daytona, I think is as good looking as this.
do you think Paul Thorpe would recommend you to buy this
uh
as an investment?
yes, probably. Again, like I'm no Rolex fanboy, but it's just something about this watch struck a chord with me, and I'm like, it's just every time I look at it, I can feel the heartache that And again, it's a bit selfish of me to even think like that. Like, why can't I spend 250K or 500K for a watch? Normal people should not be thinking like that. But yeah,
Paul
Mm.
Thorpe should do a new video that, just buy this watch for 40 something grand. You'll make a killing.
Yeah.
That easy.
yeah. I mean, he'll say this watch was 40,000 back in the day. Now, 40 years later, will he be alive 40 years? I hope so. Um, it's 2 million. You could have paid $40,000.
Justin says he'll just go to Daytona.
So Rob, I mean, Dib, you guys could care less about display case backs on Rolex in general, or
Yep.
on this
Yep.
watch?
Doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
That movement is not that great looking. That looks, honestly, from a distance, if I did not know the watch
Yeah.
and I put the Polaris chronograph, those two look very similar from a distance. Yeah, if you want to pull that up, you'll see what I'm talking about.
I
It's
will
like,
tell you that in terms of something Rob mentioned earlier about fakes, it makes it way harder to have a credible fake of a watch when you have a display case back. They
Mhm.
just, you know,
Yep.
none of the fakes have credible display backs.
but who else
No.
is trying to get a white gold fake out?
What am I looking for? Oh no, yeah, no, I don't mean the white gold. I mean,
Ah, okay.
I'm saying if
Uh,
Rolex put display backs on their whole line on all their watches. Personally, I like to look at display case backs anyway, but as far as like not worrying about fakes, it would make it that
hmm.
much easier to spot the fakes.
Kevin is saying, I heard that Paul Thorpe was beaten within an inch of his life because a thief thought he might be getting this watch in the future. London is rough, fellas.
Dib, you want me to pull up some JLC? Which one?
The Polaris chronograph. Just open a new tab. You'll see from a distance it looks similar. Again, I might be wrong, but that's how I feel.
Colin with the dig here. How does it feel to have both your teams lose in the finals in 24 hours, Bobby? Oof.
Which one, Dib? This one?
That blue chronograph, if you can find a movement picture.
A movement picture. Like this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from a distance.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of looks the same. So I don't really care about the movement.
I see. I like looking at them. This one's not too great looking, but I actually think the Rolex look better. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
maybe
I
it's
mean,
the
maybe because
picture.
it's the gold rotor.
Yeah, maybe it's the picture or the gold rotor, but like this from this view, it's kind of good looking.
Yep.
I like it.
I got nothing.
You got to schedule that one, Dib. You got to manifest it.
I think I'm gonna pass. That watch doesn't suit my lifestyle.
Yeah,
I need to go up a few tax brackets. Well,
yeah,
quite a few tax brackets to actually comfortably enjoy that watch.
yeah,
Like if I really had to, like let's say in a hypothetical situation, I sell all my watches, I get 50, 60 grand, I buy that at retail. Like again, it's difficult.
How about the MB&F HM8 Mark II?
I think they could have done it better. You know, it's not a bad looking watch. Again, it's a very expensive watch. It's crafted out of the best materials, probably. Nothing wrong with it, but I think the design just falls a little flat, in my opinion.
Mm. I love it. I love it. I mean, it doesn't matter what the price is. I mean, I'm never going to be able to. This won't be be added in my collection anytime soon. So the price is irrelevant to me at this point for this watch, but I love it. I
I
don't
mean,
care if it looks like a frog.
hopefully we get to see this at watch time, and at least
Mm.
you get wowed and I change my mind.
Yeah.
We probably will see this at watch time, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Ooh, Bruno is already calling us to land the plane.
All right.
It's-
Is that what that
Wow.
is?
Yeah,
What?
because you know where that's from, right?
No.
So apparently a couple weeks ago, Watch Eric
Okay.
and Paul Thorpe they did a video on Eric's channel, and it was like more like a podcast setting, and they had mentioned our watch soup.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That was funny.
Yeah.
But I can't tell from that tiny little emoji that Bruno posted.
I guess maybe from streamer. I mean, I'm so used to seeing it now because in the last couple of weeks, like Chaz will do it or
Oh,
Joey,
okay.
it's like land the plane. Like here, Con has a plane. It looks like it's taking off. So anytime I see the plane, I'm like, okay, okay, they're telling me to land the plane. Well, all right, we're gonna land the plane. We're gonna
All
come
right.
in. We're approaching the runway. Amin, thank you so much, man. I love when you
Thanks
when
for
you come
having me.
on,
Yeah,
and
it's always fun.
it's great. Oh, look, even Dib is chiming in. He's chiming in with his little plane over there. And then Chad, here's Chaz. Okay, Dib again. Thanks, Dib. Always, you're the man. Love hearing what you got to say. Did Kevin asking, did Paul Thorpe get robbed by Watch Erica? Yeah, it's quite possible. It's quite possible. I feel like Paul Thorpe mom is next to rob him. You know what I mean? Like everybody just like that guy's just such a mark. Kevin S. The landing. Okay. We're
What
landing the
even
plane
is
here.
that? Can you highlight it again? It makes it bigger. What the hell is that?
So that's like a little runway, I think, underneath the plane. Like, are you watching this on YouTube or through
StreamYard?
No, I went to the YouTube thing, so it's a plane just about to land.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We're such boomers. We're like, what is that? What? Like, I don't get
my
it.
readers.
Yeah. Chat, thanks again for all your questions and topics.
Yep.
You bailed us out again tonight. Really, really appreciate it. We'll be back again on Friday with another Bobby Legs' Friends watch talk and whatnot. And Sunday, of course, watch soup. Amin's going to be putting out some reviews. He promised me. He didn't tell me which watches he was going to review, but he said he's going to put out some this week, so expect that. And Dib, keep us abreast with your scheduled purchases. Everyone, have a good evening, and see you Friday. Take care.
See you all. Bye.